I got this.
Yeah.
It's Retral Necronolicon. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Controller. I'm Gladys, and with me as always is Cryptic Panther
Hey, everybody.
and Fatti.
Hey, uh, I'm sick.
But
Great
you're a
timing
trooper, though, and you showed up.
Oh yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
pounding the halls into me.
Yeah.
We're gonna get this done.
A trooper indeed, unlike our fourth mystery edition that can never make it. Uber will not be joining us once again, so the three of us will be covering what we can. Of course, it should be all of it. There's actually a surprisingly sparse amount of news here, so let's dive right in. Nintendo starting us off here. We deemed this to be the most important article because it's all but confirmed now. Nintendo plans a new version of the Switch due out next year. This was a article through the Wall Street Journal, and according to suppliers and others, I don't like how vague that is. With direct knowledge of the plan, Nintendo plans to release a new version of its Switch video game console next year to maintain sales momentum of the device. Now, the sales of the Switch, which was introduced back in March 2017, have obviously been stellar. They rose sharply last year, and they've trailed off since then. So they're trying to just maintain, really, if a new version is coming out. The only thing that I really see in this article that's kind of telling us what could be involved in a new Switch system is basically just an improvement of the display. The current Switch uses a lower end liquid crystal display without some technologies that are standard in more recent smartphone LCDs. So, updating the display with these technologies would make it brighter, thinner, and more energy efficient. That's really all the information that's in here. It talks about some sales numbers, and they want to sell more, like 20 million more units through March 2019. Um, Analysts expect that figure to be about right for what they expect to actually sell, not just the goal. Jesus, some dogs really going off in my neighborhood. Anyways, that's really all the information that we have. It talks about how a new Switch would follow the pattern of game developers or game platform developers, excuse me, releasing an updated version of their console about halfway through its life cycle, which is usually around 3 years. So selling or not selling, excuse me, releasing a new version in 2019 will just about fit that pattern. Beyond that, again, so far we don't have anything else to add to that, and Nintendo declined to comment. Do you two feel the need for more Switch in your life?
No, not at all. Like I go on record as being not really, I shouldn't say against the Switch, but I've been a proponent against the Switch since it was kind of since since when it was announced and released and
Right.
details were
Well,
given out. The
let me ask it this way: if a Switch comes out next year and the only update to it is an updated display, should they have bothered?
fuck no. If they don't come out with a Switch with a 1080 screen instead of a 720 screen, definitely that's a huge improvement. But I mean, the screen is that small. Is it really that big of a difference? I don't know. But then, as far as I'm concerned, they should definitely have something in the way of upgraded memory because that is a fucking train wreck with them right now.
Yep.
Memory is a big issue with them, and I don't know. They should have something along the lines of you can plug a fucking headset into it and use that for communication instead of having to hook it through your smartphone. Like there's things that were done wrong with this console, and those are some of the big glaring ones to me. Why don't they slam in a gigabyte M.2 drive in the damn thing? You know? Oh wait, they probably don't have the technology. Their motherboard probably wouldn't support M.2 because it's fucking 12-year-old technology. Fuck.
Fatty, what about you? Anything to add on this topic?
Dude, I haven't even got the first one yet. Why the fuck they releasing the second one so I can not buy that? Like shit, dude. I don't have money to buy all these consoles. It's too expensive.
Right, and usually the mid life cycle consoles are slightly upgraded. You know, it's incremental, At this stage in the game, and without Nintendo confirming anything, the only information that we've been told by suppliers and others, I can't forget them, is just that one thing they're looking at is the display. And I would, yeah, like Panther said, it's not really the most important thing that they've got that they could improve on. There's a lot to be improved on the Switch, and there's no way around that. Definitely some design choices were made and mistakes were made. But yeah, just updating the display is really not going to do anything as far as, the quality of the system, I don't think.
Yeah, but people are gonna eat it up anyways. It's the same as the Xbox One came out, then the One S, and then the One X, and it was all power upgrades and graphical upgrades. People swallowed that shit up. Same with the PS4 and PS4 Pro. Now, if they just upgrade the screen, sure, it's not that big of a jump, but for Nintendo nerds that have been asking for a 1080p screen, they will throw their wallets at their computer screens immediately. They'll eat that shit up. So it's basically Nintendo's just has a plan for making money, and they know it'll work.
And here's another point of it too. I mean, I know that the Xbox and the PlayStation, they done the upgrade to their their 4K model, the One X and the PS4 Pro. I mean, if they're not updating this to be more powerful other than just a screen, I think they're hurting themselves announcing this the way the news get leaked or released, or you want to call this, because it's kind of a weird. It's not an official lease, but it is like a report confirmed it. It's fucking ridiculous how this information got put out to who was it put out again? Wall Street Journal. Right. So Sony, Nintendo failed to respond to this. So are they trying to play their cards close to their chest, saying, "Oh, we're just gonna be a scream"? Then all of a sudden they're gonna try to come up with this big announcement at a press conference early next year. Who knows? I mean, they just think they win every time, no matter what they do. And to me, they've been falling on their fucking face nonstop. I just don't know why people keep giving them money.
But that's the thing. People are giving them money.
That's the
They're
problem.
They're not losing. They're winning every time. It might not be in your eyes, but you're not a Nintendo fan. But think of how many sales they've got.
Oh, I know. I mean, I was a huge Nintendo fan, and unfortunately, since this whole Switch thing started, and the other shit that's been going on, and people it's funny. It's the, I mean, I get the fanboyism because I'm like, as the Baker says, I'm a PS fanboy. I mean, they have to me, they have the best lineup. I mean, okay, maybe the Xbox One X has a little bit more power, but they have no damn games, right? So I prefer Sony over the fact of for what they have in games available. But I mean, with Nintendo, I grew up in Nintendo, and I mean, I was a Nintendo fan growing up. That's all there was Nintendo, and I mean, I don't just Nintendo to me is everybody just the second Nintendo says jump, everyone just fucking jumps. They don't even question it, and it's like, why? And then when an article or two comes out about how they fuck shit up, the whole thing about the online, how you have to be signed in once a week to be able to play your games, and all that shit, it's like it goes on for like 2 days. The world gets pissed off, and all of a sudden they go, oh look, Mario's cute. Oh, everyone forgets about all the shit that Nintendo does. It's like it's all smoke and fucking mirrors. It's ridiculous. How long did fucking people shit the fuck on Sony with this whole crossplay thing? It went on day in, day out for fucking months. But yet Nintendo makes a fucking mistake, and they 12 people get pissed off, and the rest of the world tells them to go eat a dick, and they just suck Nintendo's cock again. It's ridiculous. I just hope that sometime down in the near future, I don't want to see the company fail. I want to see someone grab the reins at Nintendo and say, look, we made a lot of mistakes, let's fix them. And then I wouldn't have a problem paying Nintendo some money. But until they get their head out of their ass, I'm not going to give them a fucking dime.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is they don't need to. They don't need to fix that.
Yeah, I know.
Nintendo is at a state right now where they're printing money and they don't have to make a change. So it's not
fucking Sony fucking prints money too. 65 million or 70 million consoles sold, ain't no fucking joke, and they make changes. They see where they went wrong. I mean, Nintendo fell hard in their face with the Wii U. The Wii made the money, and then it just fell apart because no one wanted to support the platform. The Wii U was a mistake.
Well, because they made the same thing again.
Well, in and out a bit. I mean, they made some changes to it, but with the Switch, to me, it's a novelty thing. And if you talk to a lot of people that have a Switch, and I guarantee a lot of them, it sits there and collects dust. You know, ask if we ever talk to Uber on a podcast, ask him how often he plays the Switch. But I mean, there's a lot of people say that. There's a lot of people in comments on Reddit when you read articles about Nintendo. They say that they bought a Switch for this game and that game, and now it just sits there. So I mean, are you going to spend $500 on a console you play like every 2 or 3 months? Like, no thanks. So,
yeah.
Like I said, them announcing this upgraded Switch to me is I don't know. It's non-news to me.
Well, they need to do a lot more than a display.
Yeah.
Right now, we're already beating them before anything's been confirmed.
Yeah, so
I think we should wait a little bit before we really bring out the sticks.
All right. Okay.
Little late. We're like 10 minutes into yelling at them already. But that's all we got for right now for Nintendo. Fatti, let's talk about another non-topic here. Go for it.
Yeah. So it's theory time.
I hate this. I hate it.
So a few days ago, Hideo Kojima, who is known for Metal Gear Solid and is making the UPS walking simulator Death Stranding, he shared a trailer for a new upcoming game called Russia 2055. It's a multiplayer FPS game that's being created by an unknown studio called Invictus Volition. Now, if you look into Invictus Volition, they haven't had any kind of social media footprint until about a month ago. So they're relatively new. But when you watch this trailer, it's very well polished. This game looks like it could be a AAA title. It's some money went into this. So normally, a director or a creator sharing some sort of trailer, this would be brushed off, right? Normal news, they think the game's cool. But when it comes to Kojima, this isn't the first time he's fucked around with stuff like this. The trailer itself looks oddly similar to Death Stranding in a few different ways. Firstly, the art style and the graphics are almost identical. Like, you watch the trailer and they look pretty much the same. But also, as you watch the trailer, there's a few things that are popping in there that are also in the Death Stranding trailer. So there's an alien that's descending from the sky. It looks exactly like the aliens that were shown sort of floating around in the latest Death Stranding trailer. A lot of the tanks and stuff look similar. A lot of the soldiers. It's really, really coincidental. And again, people create games that look alike sometimes. So usually we'd brush this off. But if we look back to when MGS came out, Kojima pretended to be a Swedish director for Moby Dick Studios and was creating this new game called The Phantom Pain. And he went on with it for like a year. And it eventually turned out it was really MGS5. And this Swedish dude named Joachim, I think he called himself, was really Kojima. So it gets you thinking, is this really a new game by an unknown studio? Or is this really a new part of Death Stranding? Maybe multiplayer aspect, a trailer for that. It's really hard to say, and it's all speculation. But when it comes to the game, like I said, it's Russia 2055, and it's a multiplayer FPS that allows 64 players to go head-to-head, and in it you can either do, mech versus mech, U.S. Army versus Russia Army, or even aliens versus the world. So it looks like there's going to be a lot of varying combat in it, if it's real. And if it is, that's great. That's awesome. Kojima's showing a cool game that's coming out that he has nothing to do with. But if you're a fan of Kojima, you have that suspicion that maybe there isn't something right about this. I don't know if you guys are familiar with a lot of his work or even watch this trailer. What do you guys think?
Sadly, I did not watch this trailer, and I want to watch it now, but I can't because the desktop body will pick up my video. I want to play it so bad.
I just watched it on mute, actually.
I want to. I definitely want to watch it and listen to it, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna be watching it when we're done recording, and I think I will look at it.
Well, just watching it on mute, yeah, it looks like the same engine that's running for
Okay.
Death Stranding. It
Alright.
looks similar. I mean, I know some of the visuals are distorted and everything, but kind of the color palette that we can just tell looks the same. The soldiers' designs, as you pointed out, Fatty, look the same, and that kind of almost War of the Worlds type of floating, like really long tentacle type of looking floaty alien thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that looks exactly like Death Stranding to me. So I think this is utter bullshit. I think it's absolutely Death Stranding.
And that's what I'm thinking too. He's trying to pull the curtains over our eyes again. It's what he does with every game. I don't think there's been a game he's released where he's like, "Oh, hey, this is the game." No, it's been fucking bullshit after bullshit every time, and it's just one big prank to him. But yeah, I mean, I could knock the engine off as coincidence because he uses the Decima engine, which was used by Horizon Zero Dawn. So it's not like other developers can't use the same engine, but the art style is the exact same.
Yep.
Kojima Productions has been using the same artist for years. So it's kind of coincidental that this is almost identical.
Yeah, and that the studios had no footprint before, and as you said, it looks like a AAA game, and these guys just appeared when, like
a month ago.
A month ago. Okay, so no, there's no way. Beyond that, there's actually nothing really shown in here except what could possibly be like, I would almost say kind of like a event in the game, as you're kind of like waiting around.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost looks like there's actually nothing really going on here.
No, exactly. It almost looks like a tech demo in a way.
Yeah.
I just watched it. I do apologize because I pressed play. The audio was like instant. I got it muted, but because I'm recording through OBS, the desktop audio picked it up for a split second. But I apologize for that. But yeah, I watched it, and it definitely does kind of look like what we've seen on Death Stranding a little bit, like the thing floating in the air, and it's definitely interesting. I'm like, this is piquing my interest even more. I'm so glad I pre-ordered.
It's pissing me off even more. I get more angry the more non-news comes out about this game.
And with no PSX, we're not going to see anything more about this game until next year.
Nope.
So,
yeah, exactly.
I definitely the Decima engine was created by Guerrilla Games, and they definitely have worked with Kojima Productions and allowing them to use it for their games. So they kind of made a joint house to share that engine. So maybe this team, whoever they are, have decided to take some, maybe it's a sub studio of Kojima, and they've decided to use that engine and go ahead and make a game based off some of their art styles. Who knows? Or it could be just something to fuck with us.
Yeah,
I think it's a tech demo.
Yeah,
I think it's footage from a different POV that we haven't seen so far, and some type of soldier or something. It's absolutely a tech demo. This is Death Stranding just from an aspect that we haven't seen so far. That's all.
Yeah, not the walking simulator.
No, not the UPS versus FedEx post-apocalyptic walking simulator.
No.
that we now know that Troy Baker's in. So there you go.
God, I know. It's like everything I hear about this, like part of me wants to get excited. I'm like, oh, Troy, and then it's just at the end of next year, it's going to be the same goddamn list and the same footage, and
Nolan North will be in it next, and
Nolan North, yes.
And then at the end, you'll be like, oh, this is so cool, but what is it?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
the same question we've been asking for a couple years.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Anyways, moving on here. There's some just it keeps going. This is the story that keeps on kicking.
It definitely does.
There's just more bad news here out of the Telltale front. What's going on?
So there's a tweet by you're gonna pronounce the name, aren't you, Baker? Because I'm not going to.
Oh, let me bring that. Yeah, I got this. Hang on. Crack my knuckles. I'm ready. All right. So this is Rachel Necro-Noelicon.
There you go. She tweeted out. She says, hey, remember how there was going to be a skeleton crew staying on for a while and I was part of it? Nah, JK, we all just got laid off too. So she tweeted that out the other day. on the 4th of October to be exact, and she tweeted that out. So she later come back and she commented. She said, "I think there was some misunderstanding about my earlier message. There are still good people at the company. My team is done." So whatever team this Red Shell lady was leading, she was one of the narrative designers of the company because it says in her Twitter profile. So she and her team have been let go. So the skeleton crew at Telltale Games is even slimmer, if you can call a skeleton crew now slimmer. I don't know what you call that, but yeah, they're picking the bones clean over at Telltale. At this point, I don't know why they just don't just erase the company from existence, because I think the last time we heard there was like 25 people left, so there's less now. I don't know how many's on her team. She didn't say it in her tweet, and I didn't dig into her history with the company to find out any of that because it's kind of a non clause right now. But if we want to have a silver lining to this, the next piece of topic of Telltales and one of their most well-known games, The Walking Dead, the final season will be finished by Skybound Games. So there's an article here from PC Gamer. It says Skybound Games, a division of Robert Kirkman's Skybound Entertainment, as if everyone don't know who Robert Kirkman is, today announced they've picked up the rights to The Walking Dead, the final season from Telltale Games. It says, let's wrap up Clem's story right. More details to come soon. Kirkman was the creator of the original Walking Dead comic series. He also brought it up at the panel at the New York Comic Con, saying we successfully negotiated with Telltale's for our company Skybound to come in and see season 4 of the Telltale game to completion. So that's big news. Another company grabbing an IP from a pretty much defunct company to finish out a game series. That's big news. I mean, that's kind of unprecedented, really. Everyone figured the Walking Dead was dead. People figured that the last bit of the last season 4 wasn't going to get finished because it's released in parts, right? Like they release part 1, 2, I think 3 and 4. I think that's how they work. I'm not sure. I never played the Walking Dead series, but I know they released them in parts, so they're able to complete them because I think part 2 is released just as Telltale was falling apart, and so there was like 2 parts left to come out, or at least 1 part anyways, to come out of the game. And people were on the internet were going, "Well, I pre-ordered. What do I do now?" And I guess people were kind of clamoring, figuring how they're going to get their money back for part of a game that was no longer coming. So anybody that had pre-ordered or wants to finish out the series, at least now you know that the game is going to be completed. So that's some good news, I guess, if there's any to come out of this whole people losing their jobs.
Yeah, and like you said, it's unprecedented, really, and it's the good news that we were all hoping for, and not just us here, but like the gaming community, because everybody, as we had reported and talked about, not quite every week, but pretty much since this has happened, it's been a constant thing that we can talk about or look back to. But it's that all these other developers and companies have reached out and said, "Hey, like come and meet with us." The one company bought them lunch for a bunch of those people and everything. So that actually something concrete came from that, and somebody picked up, at least the series. That's great news. And if nothing else, this is great news for the gamers, like you said, who were caught, in a pre-order debacle of not getting content, or the danger of not getting content that they had tried to pay for. But yeah, hopefully some of the developers will be brought in with Skybound to consult at least for a while, and they can keep taking care of their families until something permanent is found for them. Excuse me. So I don't know. At this point, that's great news, and that's a great start. And hopefully, these developers and all these people involved with Telltale get picked up at some point by other people and other companies. Yep. Okay.
I guess Fatty's indifferent to this topic. Ain't nothing to say.
No, I mean, it's sad news, but we really said what we said on it.
Yeah.
I wish all the best for everyone that's affected, and it's nice that another studio is stepping in, but it's still pretty shitty for everyone who's lost their job at this point.
Sure, yeah.
Best of luck to them.
Yep. All right, so moving on to the next topic here, something that's been talked about for many, many years and might finally come to fruition. This article from Kotaku tells us that game developers say they're preparing for PSN name changes.
Woo!
Woo! Not that I'm going to change mine, but
Yeah, me
there's a
either.
lot of people out there that have been wanting to change their names for a long time because the infinite wisdom and foresight that we show at the tender age of 17 when we made our first PSN account, it doesn't really carry over so many years later. You know what I mean? Um, Looking back now, the teenage mind deciding that fuckboy 2012 or something, probably wasn't the best name that you could ever pick.
Blaze it 420XX no scope.
Yes, exactly. Um, so this is coming from three different people, or no, three people at three different game studios, speaking anonymously because they're not authorized to talk to the press. They said in recent months they've been fixing bugs, tweaking settings, and ensuring that games are compatible with Sony's plans. Um, but hopefully, this is all in preparation for clearing the way for PlayStation Network name changes. A fourth person who worked for a game studio shared a photo obtained from internal Sony documentation of a PSN profile containing the option edit username. So hopefully this is legit. There's multiple sources now, apparently a photo, and while there's no time frame for the inclusion of any sort of for this feature, hopefully this will be coming soon. And video. Yeah, so no concrete news, but that's looking pretty good. That's a good number of sources. That's not a random guy, and also there's some type of actual documentation that's been leaked as well to the press. So maybe something coming soon. What do you guys think?
Well, the name change thing has been something people have been just clamoring for ages. I know it says in the article about how Xbox allows you to change yours like once for free, and then after that it costs you $8. And there's no mention that Sony's going to charge for this feature. Maybe it's a one-time only. Maybe that's it. You change it once and that's it. You better be happy with it.
Well,
And I think realistically, there's no need for someone to constantly change their goddamn username. The only reason to constantly do it, I mean, I understand why Xbox puts a charge on it because people like to stir up shit so they can go in, forums or multiplayer games and send messages and then change their damn name. I'm not sure how that works on the back end for Microsoft, but there's no need for people to constantly change their names. Find one and use it. But I'll tell you, people, you're not going to get the name you want. Pretty much probably all the really good names have been taken. I mean, if you haven't created one, to start with that you're happy with, and you think you're just going to change it to, Stud Muffin 99, guess what? Stud Muffin 99 is probably already been taken, so you're shit out of luck.
I've had that in my back pocket for 8 years.
I know what it's kind of funny if you look back at last year's PSX during the PSX or the PlayStation event, whenever Sean Layden was on stage and he was being interviewed, and they were asking about name changes, and he said, "Next year, I'm hoping I'm not sitting on this couch and you won't be able to ask me that same question." Well, case in point, there is no PSX this year, so you can't ask him the question. But it looks like they're actually moving forward with this potential name change option. So the comment section of Reddit, for every time they talk about an upcoming firmware update for the PlayStation, they can stop screaming name change in the fucking comment section. I'll be happy.
Yeah.
So you think, Fatti, you changing your PlayStation name?
Oh yeah,
Are you?
Pizza Daddy 33. No, but for real, yeah, I'm definitely gonna change my PSN name.
Well, and I never really understood clearly what the issue was because, especially right now with Steam, I mean, holy shit. I've got people on there that I've got to constantly check back at their profile to look what they were AKA'd as because it's a different name every time. And I'm like, who is this person?
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, it's constant. You can do it very easily, but it doesn't affect anything of how how you play or anything like that. It's just, the identification. Right now, I've got a guy on my friends list on Steam, Abraham H. Parnassus. I don't know who the fuck that is. But if I just very simply hit profile, and then let me see, where is his previously known as?
Well, I have one here. Is called Adept Host. I know it is by his icon, but yeah, I've no. If I didn't see the avatar, I wouldn't have no clue that is.
I don't even know the avatar. But his also played as, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 listed, and that's probably not even all of them. That's just the last 10.
Yeah. the thing they mentioned with Sony is how whenever they initially set up their username database and how it feeds in and out of games, I think that was always a thing, is because it was always a back end issue. It was always the way the database was built, and that's what we've been told. Whether that's the truth, whether they just haven't they just said fuck it, we're not going to spend time and money on a name change, and they haven't put any engineers on it. But there's been enough screaming and yelling from the masses that they've decided to allow it, or rumored, and put air quotes over that, because we haven't seen an actual confirmation from Sony yet, which hopefully will be coming soon.
Well, this has been something that people have wanted since the PS3, so it's been quite a time.
Yeah.
And my thing is, with the whole like back end database excuse, why would that span not only 2 generations of consoles, but also 2 generations of handheld consoles too? You think that if it was really something that they could change, wouldn't they have?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if they said that it was, in the interview with Sean Layton for last year's PSX, just the way he said it, like he said it wasn't an easy task. So, like I said, I'm not a database guy, so I can't speak for what difficulties there could be. But I mean, they haven't just said we're not doing it because we don't want to. They've always come out and said that it's not as easy as everyone thinks it is. So there must have been something, when they initially designed their system, that was a problem, maybe, or they just didn't want to fucking do it. I don't know. We'll never know, because we'll never get a straightforward answer from them.
No, for sure.
I think the next thing they should fix is allowing you to edit your birth date, because I fucked up there.
You forgot when you were born, did you?
No, I created my PSN account. This is why I want to change my name. I created my PSN account when I was still like a preteen, and I put in an age where I would be able to get past the mature rating filter, and I don't remember what I put in there. So if I ever forget my password or any of that shit, it always asks my fucking birth date. I always ask support to help me, and they're like, "Oh, we can't change your birth date." So,
yeah, that should be next on the list, I guess.
Yeah, hope you're listening, Sony. Help me out.
Oh, Sean Layton's listening. He always does. We know it. He just hasn't. He just hasn't told the world yet.
Yeah. Well, that would be very, very useful for them to do this. And moving right into our next topic here, something that would not be very useful. Fatty, what is this? Why is this?
Yeah, why is this? This is the better one. Capcom, for some reason, thinks we need a live-action Mega Man film. I guess. A few days ago, Capcom announced its plans to make a live-action Mega Man film, right alongside of the release of Mega Man 11. Just want to point out, Mega Man 11 got great reviews. It's apparently a great game. This idea is not, though. The film will be written and directed by Henry Jost and Ariel Schulman, neither of which I've heard of, but I heard Baker's saying some pretty choice words about them, pre-podcast.
Yeah.
And
these two goons, before we go anywhere else, they're attached. It's like their pants are seamed together. You can go on either one of their IMDb pages, and it has the exact same description, telling you how these two are a team and best buddies, and the only directing credits listed in either IMDb pages are the exact same things. They've only done work together, and they will only do work together, which is worrying enough. But the work that they've done amounts to, I think, 10 shorts, and then Paranormal Activity 3 and 4.
Yeah.
So not even the good ones.
Well, I don't think there are any, but that's a different discussion
The
altogether.
first one was all right, but like,
I fell asleep in the theater for the first one. Get out of here.
Too many
Anyways.
bedroom scenes.
Oh God, just
oh shit. Well, okay, so it's being written and directed by a couple goons.
Yeah.
And will be produced by Chernin Entertainment and Masioka, which was famous for what, Heroes, I think.
yes.
Right on. So in a release, Capcom said, and this is where I know it's going to go wrong. Capcom said they're aiming to appeal to a diverse audience, including not only game players, but action movie fans as well, with an adaptation that maintains the world of Mega Man games while incorporating the grand production and entertainment value that Hollywood movies are known for. It'll basically be shit starring The Rock.
Yes. Yeah. I'm expecting The Rock to be cast as Mega Man.
Oh man, I want to see The Rock in a blue tight suit with a Buster Cannon.
Right.
Someone
it's
give me that.
either going to be The Rock or Nicolas Cage.
No. It's Nicolas Cage. It's gonna be Kevin Hart.
No, Kevin Hart's gonna be a cut man, dude. He's gonna be cut man. Or Zero.
The Rock and Kevin Hart. Yeah.
In other news from Capcom that no one gives a fuck about, Monster Hunter is also getting a movie, but who really cares?
Wow.
Yeah.
This is gonna be such a shit show.
It is.
Why do people think we need video game movies?
Well, I mean that's an interesting and an important question though, because it's a form of media that, you know, there's so much crossover in different forms of media between music and movies and games and books and graphic novels, comics. I mean, every TV. There's so many things that all are somewhat bleeding into each other, and there's different forms of shows and movies. I mean, it's an endless amount, really, and I don't see, like, generally speaking, I'm absolutely not opposed to video games being adapted into either movies or TV shows. The problem is that they never seem to do it right. It's like they take the things that they think are great about, you know, a video game. Say God of War, whenever we get around, because I'm sure it will eventually hit. When there's a God of War movie, it better be more than just an action movie. Because I feel like these Hollywood people are going to see a game like God of War and its success, and they're going to watch a 5-minute video and say, wow, this is really bloody and violent and everything, and that's what we're going to do. But they're going to miss the entire story portion of it. You know, like it's more than just a beat 'em up. It's more than a brawl. You know, Kratos is such a conflicted and interesting character, but he absolutely is, you know, just pure rage at times. But, you know, there's a reason for what he's doing. And I don't feel like Hollywood's going to be able to capture that very well. But beyond that, yeah, like the different mediums crossing over, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, one of the discussions I feel like we should have, probably separately, maybe a special episode, is video game to movie adaptations. Because we could go through the whole list. I mean, we've joked about it. Yeah. Like I've read off, you know, the worst and best rated.
You know what we'll have to do though? We'll all have to watch them now.
Oh God.
Yeah, think about that. You just opened up a goddamn kettle of fish there, pal.
That's scary, but I'd commit to it because I'm going to stand firm in this idea here that you know, video games.
That means I gotta watch that. Try to watch that Assassin's Creed movie again.
Yeah, it was bad.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was bad, and I'm really disappointed because I love Michael Fassbender. But anyways, just to try to wrap it up, because I'm rambling now. Just to try to wrap it up, video games are interactive stories. If they have to take out the interactiveness of it, the participation of the viewer and the player, if they take that out, what they need to do is replace it with compelling story. They need to focus on the story of the games and the emotions and the thoughts provided that these stories evoke in people, the reactions that they get out of people. They need to focus on story driven things and adapt those things. So adapting a game like Street Fighter was never going to work. You know, they shouldn't have tried. It's just a bad idea. And as lovable of a train wreck as the original as the Mario Brothers movie was, I liked that movie as a kid. looking at it as an adult, it's just hot garbage. It's terrible. But like they should have known.
They see dollar signs, eh? That's the problem.
I guess.
Well, yeah, essentially.
Think about the
Hollywood.
goddamn fans instead of your pocketbooks, you motherfuckers.
Yeah. The Rock doesn't need to be in everything.
No.
That's true.
Except for this movie. He needs to be Mega Man. Then I'll pay to go see it.
So I totally derailed where you were gonna go. I apologize. If you can remember what you were saying, pick it back up.
Fuck. Way to go, Capcom.
No.
Good
not
choice.
it.
Let's do it. Rock.
You
Let's do
didn't
it.
understand why they had to make video games into movies. That was what I
See what I was going to
grabbed
say.
off.
I don't understand why they find the need to make video games into movies, but butcher them.
Oh,
Yeah,
so my whole thing was pointless.
you cut me off.
Oh man,
Party
Gladys the
foul.
asshole here. Sorry, dude.
Party foul.
Solid rant though. Solid rant.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Yeah,
on point.
Well, hey, out of your rant, we got an idea for an upcoming specials. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. We get to watch Mortal Kombat. Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I love Mortal Kombat.
So did I. Not the second one. The first one.
The second one, same thing. Loved it as a kid. Hot garbage. It's terrible.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So bad.
I can see me developing a drinking problem.
The only problem involved there would be rewatching all these movies.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on then. If Fatty, you had nothing else to add, right? Before I just end this on you. This is your time.
No. Go Capcom.
Okay, go Capcom. Panther, we've got actually a very early leak on the next PlayStation Plus titles. What are those?
Yeah, so this there was a screenshot released the other day, and it was apparently on the actual PlayStation blog site. So people were like, holy shit, like this was someone pressed the button they shouldn't have pressed, and then people are like, oh, it's a screen cap. So is it someone photoshopping, like rumors, leaks? But anyways, Sony has come out and said, yes, this is exactly what the games are for November. It says Bulletstorm, the full clip edition, and Yakuza Kiwami. So that is huge news for the fact that it's released. The information was released like the same week that the October games come out. That's nuts. So Sony has before said that, they don't always know what the titles are going to be, leading up to, sometimes like even like a week or week and a half before they actually get all the, the paperwork signed to release these games for free. But now we see them that they've known this more than a month in advance, because there's no way they'd have this logo stuff drawn up in a minute. So they've had this, they've known this probably for at least a couple weeks before this got leaked. So, but at least they didn't just pull it back and say, no, we don't know, they didn't try to pull the wool over our eyes and say, no, it wasn't us. I don't know what you're talking about. It's not there. I mean, this is the internet, man. Nothing gets deleted from the internet. So they had come out and they said, yeah, this is what's coming. So everyone now knows there's no speculation now for November what's coming. Bulletstorm, I have a vague recollection of what that may be. I know the Yakuza series has been like blowing up. I mean, there's been game after game coming out. They've kind of remastered a couple of them. There's been a lot of talk about them. I've never played a Yakuza game, so this is giving me a chance to try one. They're not really in my wheelhouse because there's some really weird things that go on in them. Like there's karaoke and a bunch of other weird shit you can do. It might be a laugh of a game. It might be something to fuck around with. It just, we're looking for something mindless to do. But, come October 26th, the only thing I'm going to be playing is Red Dead Redemption 2. So I don't know if I'm even going to remember to download these free games come November.
Well, and if you've got space after the Red Dead download.
Yeah, that's true. I could just delete the previous month of PlayStation games. But yeah, so Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition and Yakuza Kiwami are coming in November.
Right. And there's going to be more titles as well to be announced.
Right, yeah, the PS3
the
titles.
two
Yeah, there's always PS3 titles in Vita, and there's usually a couple crossovers. So yeah, we'll be getting a few more titles, but the PlayStation 4 titles, the big hitters, yeah. So there you go.
I'm gonna play the shit out of Yakuza.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna try
I
it.
love the Yakuza series.
Really? Okay.
Wow. Yes, hell yeah.
Did you ever play because it reminds me a lot. The last Yakuza game I played reminded me a lot of it. It was True Crime, Streets of LA.
Yeah, loved it.
Right. I
That's-
figured you
Streets of
would.
New York, the second one was all right. Did you play Sleeping Dogs?
Yeah, yeah.
That was supposed to be True Crime 3.
Ah,
I
That's
actually have Sleeping Dogs on my Steam library. I have not tried it yet.
Oh, that's a great game. I
It
recommend it.
is. It is great. It does a lot of really cool things.
I'll have to give
Yeah.
it a try.
But Yakuza, yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait to do karaoke. It's gonna be awesome.
I just want to beat up random
We could
people in
just
the
play
streets.
comedy night if that's what you're itching for.
No. Japanese karaoke is the way to go. You can't mimic it. It's
The fighting in the
So
game is
good.
ridiculous too. That it can you just throw people into stuff and throw stuff at people in the streets.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can toss
Yeah.
people through windows. Sleeping
Yeah.
Dogs the same way though. I mean, like the fighting in that is just unbelievably
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah, so good.
All right.
Right.
Moving
so-
on here. Another Sony rumor. It's just rumor mill here. There's a lot of Sony rumors. This is another big one though. This is bigger than the name change. I think actually we probably should have filtered this one up higher, but we still get to it, so it's pointless to say that now. Sony, Sony. I'm just walking all over myself and others in this podcast. I'm sorry,
Jesus,
guys.
get your shit together.
I'm trying.
Okay.
It's too loose right now. Sony's planning backwards compatibility for PlayStation 5. That's the rumor. And that was, as of this recording, yesterday. This was an article on gearnuke.com. So Sony has registered a new patent that seems to be suggesting support of backwards compatibility for the PlayStation 5. The patent was filed privately as a placeholder, most likely before, but it was updated on October 2nd. So the patent titled Remastering by Emulation is registered to Sony, and a summary of it is listed in this article. I won't read it because it's a wall of text basically, but what it's talking about is identifying legacy software, which is what they refer to. I'm guessing that means an older game. Each texture in these older games are going to be labeled with a unique identifier, and then basically it's going to be played at a higher resolution and display than it was originally made for. It's going to store them into data and basically insert it on the fly into a new game. So it sounds like they're just talking about remastering something and basically updating it for a new engine or a new display resolution, whatever the case may be, however far they decide to go with it. Basically, it sounds exactly like remastering something.
Sounds exactly like what Xbox is doing.
Yes. Which, I feel like they really should have done for the PlayStation 4.
Mm-hmm.
And even on PlayStation 3. Like every release that they have that they don't do backwards compatibility, it's more and more disappointing. Like I don't want consoles to feel like, I can't ever play the old ones again. Because once you have the new one, chances are with the stuff that's coming out for there, you're not going to touch the old ones. When I got a PS3, how often did I go back to PS2 and also for PS4? They make it pretty much obsolete with the next release, and I would really like to see more continuity in the brand. I think that backwards compatibility is something that should just be inherent in any console, pretty much, that's made. So, anyways, it's an actual patent that's filed. So this rumor is actually not really a rumor. It's just somebody found this patent because it was updated on October 2nd and I guess made public. So no longer private, and it is registered to Sony. So it looks like we're finally getting some backwards compatibility or remastering at least of a massive amount of old titles, probably.
The biggest thing with the backwards compatibility between PS2 and PS3, that I don't know if there seemed to be that big of a hot topic for that back in that change between 2 and 3 that I remember.
Well, I mean, for me personally, I probably had 100 PS2 games, man.
Right. Oh, I had a
And
lot
when
of
I
I
went
had
to
a lot of
PS3,
PS.
I couldn't do shit with them.
Right. So I mean, I had a lot of the PS2 titles, not as many as you seem to have, but I don't remember them being this big talk of being able to play, PS2 games on your PS3. I don't really remember that because the PS3 came out, and I mean they kind of have a train wreck of a launch, anyways. But whenever the PS4 came out, people were with backwards compatibility. But anyone that understands the architecture that the PS3 was built on to emulate it, the PS4 would not be able to then play the game. The PS4 is powerful enough to emulate it, but then after that, there's no processing power left to actually render the damn game because of the way the PS3 was designed. So now the PS5 being the next generation, and maybe they found a way to, instead of completely remastering the game, to allow some type of an onboard emulator to run like the PS3 versions of games and then upscale them. So I mean, definitely cool for anyone that likes to play in the old games. To me, there's so many goddamn new games. I don't have time to go back and play old games now. I mean, I do wish the Red Dead had been remastered for PS4.
Yeah,
I know,
big missed opportunity.
Right, I know, but it's backwards compatible on Xbox. I know with the PlayStation Now, is that what it's called? Yeah, I know you can get like a free trial for 14 days, and I could probably jam the game through in 14 days. But I just too many games for me to play now. I don't got time to go back and play it. But I mean, I'm happy for people that are hugely wanting the back catalog stuff. But I mean, the fact that the PS5 is going to be built on the similar architecture as the PS4, backwards compatibility is pretty much, to me, is a non-topic. It's got to be there, or Sony's going to lose a boatload of fans. But them adding the ability to go back even farther definitely makes them look a lot better, and it's definitely something that needed to be done. And another thing I want to say, if in the screenshot in this article, I hope that's what the PlayStation 5 looks like.
Do you?
I have not looked at this. What is it?
Kind of looks like an Xbox.
Yeah, it looks like a cross between an Xbox and a PlayStation 4, with the shiny side and
like
the matte side and a
laptop briefcase.
Yeah, or like a fancy Blu-ray player or some shit. Yeah. I mean, I just think it's nice and understated. I mean, that's kind of like, yeah.
Oh, no. It looks just like a VCR.
There you go. Well, the rounded corners of VCRs that have rounded corners.
Oh no, I mean the front of it though.
Yeah, I think
it's like a tape deck.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with the PlayStation 5 like that.
No, not really.
I think going back to how you were talking about, there wasn't really much talk about, backwards compatibility between the PS2 and PS3. I think the reason for that was the PS2 was such a great console. A lot of people kept theirs around anyway.
Yeah.
And then with the PS3, it became so important to have backwards compatibility between that and PS4 because there was such a vast library for the PS3. I mean, people have hundreds of games.
Right.
And keeping a console around that you could really sell or do something just to play those games when you have a fully capable console right beside it, it's kind of dumb. Whereas between the PS2 and the PS3, the PS2 was great, but the technology difference between the two is astronomical.
Right.
So it's just, it's something that should have been done.
Like Panther touched on, though, the PS3 released was not strong. We had Uncharted and what was the one?
Ridge Racer.
No, not Ridge Racer. It was War something or something. I don't know.
I don't remember.
It was some type of multiplayer shooter. There was some vehicles involved. I don't remember the name of it though.
Damn.
Warhammer?
No, not Warhammer. I don't know, but either way, it doesn't matter. There was only a couple games really that were worth a shit at launch, and for like the next 6 months, probably close to a year, before we got like a decent amount of decent titles. So for that time, when I had the PS2 and all those games as well, there wasn't much incentive for me to get rid of it, And like you said, not only because there was a large library of games that I owned for that console, and knowing that it wouldn't work on the PS3, I had incentive to keep that console, but if it was just as simple as putting the disc in and it read it, like I just felt like as a kid, I didn't understand why that wouldn't be okay and why that wouldn't be important to the company to have, just me having 100 titles or so. Like I loved a lot of these games and I would go back to them regularly, and this was before I started getting into like real multiplayer. So these are all single player games, that I could put time into.
Okay. And sorry to cut you off, but I have to correct us because we're totally wrong.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
The very first PS3, the Fats, were PS2 compatible.
I don't remember that.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
I just remembered because I had one, and you could put a PS2 disc in it, and it would play. So I looked it up, and all first generation, which was the CHC or CECHA and the CECHB, were fully hardware compatible for PS2s.
You're kidding
Wow.
me.
No.
Totally forgot. See, I didn't get a PlayStation 3 at launch. I had a PS2 and I switched to Xbox because a bunch of people I work with all played on Xbox. So I got a 360 and because we were playing Halo and a bunch of other games there. So because PlayStation 2, I think the only thing I played on multiplayer was SOCOM. So whenever the PS3 came out, I wasn't interested in it because the Xbox came out first. I do believe the 360 did launch before the PS3, right?
Now we're
right?
just questioning everything.
I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I ended up picking up an Xbox 360 shortly after it came out and sold my PS2 and played Xbox. And when PS3 came out, I was like, well, that's way too much money. I can't afford one of those. And I didn't even look at PlayStation 3 until they come way down in price. And then the God of War titles got me back. So, and I've never left.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting. I just had to correct.
No,
that.
that's a great correction. I can't believe that.
We forgot.
No, I absolutely not even forgot. I didn't know that because I'm genuinely telling you, like, I kept my PS2 because I didn't think that my PS3. I swear I've put a disc in, and that it didn't work before.
Yeah,
I had to have tried it.
It was the 60 gig and the 20 gig models. The 80 gigs were only software emulator, and it didn't play all PS2 games.
Well, maybe
And
that's
so
what
it
I
had to
I
be
don't
the
know.
first generation fat one. Anything after that, it was only PS1 games that would work.
Huh. I don't know. Maybe that's the one I had then. That's so strange, though.
Yeah.
But
Today
either
I
way,
learned.
okay, yeah. Today I learned. I'll stand corrected.
Well,
I can't argue with facts just because I didn't experience it.
We need to drop in a breaking news story here. I did not see this article. The Gear Nuke website. We got a Red Dead 2 topic for this week, everybody. Yeah, on the Gear Nuke website, I just had to be looking at it while we're going through this recent article, and it says Red Dead Redemption 2 is absolutely not coming to PC, says Rockstar developer.
Oh shit.
Red Dead Redemption 2 has started to receive a lot more coverage after the press embargo was lifted today. Rockstar Games were doing a live stream Q&A and were asked about a PC port. When it comes to releasing games on PC, Rockstar is known to delay their releases for more than a year or two. It happened with Grand Theft Auto 5, and the original Red Dead Redemption was never released for PC, but rumors that a PC port may make it rounds for the sequel. During the live stream, with the multiplayer on Twitch, Rockstar Games were asked to talk about a chance of the game coming to PC. Their answer was pretty clearly cut. They said it is absolutely not coming to PC.
Wow.
And then there's a little update. This is more likely a translation error, so it's still open to possibility of the game coming to PC at a later date. So, yet again, we get an article with a very small little update at the bottom. And there's a Twitter post from the Red Dead Network. We received a correction by another Italian member of the multiplayer Q&A about the PC version of Red Dead 2. This is making the rounds and is what is the interviewer meant. So yeah, there's still up in the air. There's a lot of rumors still flying around of whether Red Dead is going to be on PC eventually. To me, if it comes to PC down the road, I'm neither here nor there. I mean, I'm getting it day one on PS4. I already pre-ordered it, so it coming to PC, yes or no, is really a non-point for me. But hey, I needed a Red Dead topic for this week, so there you go.
Well, while we're springing breaking news about Red Dead here, did you know? Because I just was also perusing Gear Nuke from October 3rd. This article was released. Red Dead Redemption 2 will feature the entire map from the first game.
Oh yes, I did remember reading that, and I forgot all about that. Very good. Red Dead, we just can't leave it alone. And it hasn't even come out yet. We can't stop it. Jeez.
Awesome.
Red Dead.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and move on here after the impromptu breaking news. Fatti, what's going on with Xbox?
Yeah, so Xbox is holding a event in November. They're calling it the XO18. It's basically going to be a global celebration of all things Xbox, and it's said to feature some, new news, uh, first looks, and a few surprises. Apparently, essentially, it's going to be a live episode of Inside Xbox, which is basically their inside look and what's going on, what's new, all that stuff. And they claim it's going to be the largest live episode of it ever, and it's going to be streamed live, of course, on Mixer. Why
Shocking.
not? Exactly. It's going to be streamed live on November 10th and 11th. There's not a whole lot of news as to what is going to be going on. So, with that said, I'd like to open the floor with assumptions or guesses of what you guys think will be there.
I think we're going to see lots of live stream crashes.
On Mixer.
Yeah.
When it comes to Xbox, I don't know. I figure I don't know if there's going to be any major game announcements. It's hard to say. I don't think they're going to use this event to launch a console. Like, they're not. I don't think we're going to see their new console. They may mention something, maybe, but I don't see them using this smaller stage, even though it is like their own event. I figure E3 is a spot where they're going to announce and actually show a console. So that I don't think. Maybe an update to their live subscription service. Maybe some more Game Pass games. I don't know.
Yeah, this article it's on Xbox.com, but I mean, how it's just already started is introducing X018, a global celebration of all things Xbox. That sounds almost more like a retrospective, doesn't it? That doesn't sound like something that they're announcing things at, really.
I mean, it does say a global celebration, but I mean, yeah, maybe they're going to do a small retrospective on it, but is it only on Mixer?
I imagine you're going to be able to find it on Mixer.
Cover streams on Mixer, yeah.
That's all it says. Wow, strange. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. What are you thinking? What are you hoping for, Fatti? You're the Xbox fan out of the three of us.
I mean, personally, I'm hoping for more Xbox Game Pass games to be announced. I mean, they've got a great library so far, but I would like to see more shift over to the Play Anywhere.
Yeah,
I really like being able to play those games both on my Xbox and my PC. And it also opens us up to allowing PC players who don't have an Xbox to also play those games,
Exactly.
Forza Horizon 4 is a great example. It just came out. People can play it on both PC and Xbox, and it's great. You're able to expand that player base and allow people to play together more than you would be if it's just on the console. So I'm hoping for more of that. I don't know. I assume that maybe we're going to see more of Microsoft waving to stick around, maybe buying up a few more studios, but I think this is really just going to be a day for the fans. There'll be some teasers announced, maybe stuff like that, some free shit given away, but I'm not expecting a lot of big stuff. It's just going to be kind of a amped up, low key event for fans, I guess.
Well, here's another thing too. It's from Mexico City.
Yeah, it's an odd location.
Yeah. Because I'm looking at the screen, going, "What's with that logo? Like, what's at the screen underneath?" I'm like, "Wait, it says Mexico." So that's I'm like, okay, so maybe they're launching a Mexican division of Xbox. Who knows? Yeah, that's definitely a strange location to have a press conference.
Yeah. And I'm just reading, IGN put out an article about it and said there's going to be announcements from both first and third party developers. So, maybe we'll see some new games, a couple teasers or something. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do.
I don't think that we're going to get announcements of a new IP or anything. Nothing that big.
No.
They're probably going to
be anything. It'll be teasers.
They'll be announcing a Crackdown delay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Xbox fans.
Yeah.
But at this point, does anyone even want Crackdown 3? I could give two fucks about that game.
Yeah.
I would like to be able to play Crackdown. I'll be honest with you.
Sure, it's fun, but at this point, it's been so long. I would have much rather them finish Scalebound instead of canceling that.
Okay. Yeah. Crackdown was actually one of the very few Xbox exclusives that I got to put a lot of time into. There was this local, basically like a LAN like gaming lounge in my hometown where I grew up that I spent some time at, and they had basically a bunch of PCs hooked up together, and then some TVs on the walls and different consoles, and you could play. You'd pay, I think, some like $10 an hour, just to basically go in there and chill and play games. They had a bunch of stuff already installed, and an Xbox was there. I think a 360, and I actually went there and played a shitload of Crackdown. I had a ton of fun on that game. I never got to play the second one, but I was hoping that Crackdown would kind of emerge, and like you said, Fatty, some playability on the PC would be awesome. I would consider getting a Game Pass or something like that if I was able to play Crackdown 3 when it was released.
Oh yeah,
I would try it.
If it is released, it definitely will be, because it's a Microsoft release, isn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah, so it'll be a Play Anywhere title.
It should be, anyways.
But they need more of those.
A lot more.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
when
they have a massive library. They need to start shifting some over to.
and they just announced some new titles for Game Pass, and I'm pretty sure all of them announced were just Xbox games, and
Yep.
and one of them is Metro, and Metro is on PC. So why the hell didn't they make that a PC Play Anywhere? I mean, I'd be interested in getting Game Pass if they added some more titles that I know I would actually play.
Mm-hmm.
And they just I don't know. I mean, I know they're wanting the people to buy their console, and the Game Pass is really mirrored more towards the actual console, but I'm not buying a $500 console for a handful of games that I can play on PC. I'll go buy the game on a next Steam sale, and Microsoft won't get any of my money. If they want to play that game.
Pretty much. If you want to play that game.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on here. Our final topic of the night. We did it. We made it. Cleared the board.
And we had an extra topic when I talked about that Red
Yeah.
Dead. So Jesus, yeah, this is
Yes.
unprecedented.
Quite
I
an
think here.
achievement. Yeah. All right. So, Panther, what is it? What's the finale here? What are we talking about?
Spider-Man has one of the highest platinum trophy completion rates for all major PS4 games.
Nice.
So we got a Spider-Man topic again. We had quite a few of those in the last little while. I have not beaten the game yet. I know you haven't. I know Uber hasn't. Fatti, you even playing Spider-Man yet?
No, I haven't bought it yet.
You haven't got it yet. Okay. So we're not definitely going to talk any spoilers. I read a couple of the comments on where this is linked through Reddit. It's a Game Informer link, which as always is going to be in the description. But yeah, I mean, Spider-Man is one of the highest completion rates. A lot of people saying, well, because like 95% of the trophies are story related, so a lot of people are finishing the game. So that's a good sign for the game. I mean, there's some titles out there that even after you beat the game, there's still a boatload of trophies left.
Yep.
I know, I'm trying to remember some of the recent games that I've played and either platinum or come close to platinum, but a lot of them, yeah, I mean, after the story's over, there's usually, a handful of trophies left, and I don't always have time to go back and trophy hunt games. I know God of War, I beat the game and I wanted to platinum, but I just too many things are going on at the time. I don't have time to go back and trophy hunt. So, with Spider-Man, I'm hoping it's one that I can platinum, considering, like I said, most of the trophies are related to story. They give a list here of percentages of platinum games. So it says users, I don't know, the message board, and they say is pointed that Spider-Man is currently, yeah, I'm not even going to attempt it. Fuck it. Yeah, Baker's not stepping up, so we're just going to leave it. You can read it yourself.
I got it. Certain Fry
Oh,
on message board Restera.
Jesus. So here it is. It says Spider-Man is currently sitting in a 10% platinum trophy rate, which means that out of every 10 players have gotten every trophy in the game. That might sound low, but digging through my personal trophy list and looking for similar completion rates of PS4 exclusives, it is in the lead by a long shot. There are platinum trophy rates for some of the other recent and not so recent major PS4 games. So Horizon Zero Dawn is at 6.1%. Infamous Second Son is 5.8%. Bloodborne 5.6%. God of War 5.5, and so on down the list. And I mean that's huge. I mean, yeah, it sounds like you say 10%, one of every 10 persons platinum, but that means a majority of people are actually beating the game and finishing it. Because there's a
Yeah.
lot of people that start playing games and halfway through they either lose interest or they just don't have the time to finish it and they get set aside or whatever. So I mean, people are completing the games and going for the platinum is on a fairly steady basis in my mind. So another kudos to the developers and Insomniac for making a good game and making the trophy hunting not a brutal task.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's nice that there's not random, just meaningless trophies that you have to find or that are hidden, just because of it. It's nice to just see what's pretty much a straightforward, you finish the game and you get the trophies.
Right.
I like that. I appreciate that. There is something in this article. There is a trophy-centric site, PlayStation Trophies, and they rate the game between a 2 and a 3 out of 10 in terms of platinum difficulty.
Yeah,
I've
used that site before for doing some trophy hunting on other games I've played in the past.
Yeah.
So I used to have a problem back it started in the 360 days with achievements, and it became a thing. You play a game, you spend like hours on hours trying to do 2 or 3 stupid things in a game to get an achievement, and it ruined gaming for me for a long time. You'd get a game and it would be like, oh, you have to do these 42 steps to get this trophy, and you'd be on step 41 and fail and have to start all over. And it was rage inducing because it was an addiction. It was like, oh, I got this, we get that pop up, that old achievement pop up, and it was like, damn. And then when PlayStation, when they finally started with trophies, and it was like when I got back into PlayStation, it was, I kind of broke my addiction to it, and it's nice to get trophies, and it's nice to see what they're for, and it's nice to challenge yourself to get them, but some of the trophies, man, are just brutal. It's like, what kind of misogynistic fuck designed this? So I appreciate a game that's not forcing you to spend 7 hours to trying to find the most brutal things in a game to complete a trophy. So more developers need to do this. I mean, challenging trophies are fine, but be a little more realistic.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. Well, Fatty, if you've got nothing to add, that's gonna be it.
No.
Okay. Right on. Fair enough. Well, we did it. We cleared the board. That is all the news that we've got here. As always, everything will be linked in the description of the YouTube video. If you guys on SoundCloud, hey, thanks for listening. What's up? Follow us on Twitter. We've got all our individual handles, also the Beyond the Controller handle. So, once again, from all the guys here at Beyond the Controller, except the one who's not present, thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you guys next time.